Hi, everyone. My name is David. I'm the Director of Patient Projects at Prostate Cancer Research, and it's a pleasure to be here today and talking to you about the info pool, which I'm going to talk to you about, and then also kind of how it links onto another project that we're doing, which we're working with IQVIA on, which I think is something that's quite exciting for us, for an organization like ourselves, and for the work we're trying to do in making changes in racial and social inequity in prostate cancer. So just a little bit about who we are, Prostate Cancer Research. We are a charity based here in the UK, although we recently opened a new US arm of us as well. We started out life as an academic research organization. We still have that runs through our blood. We currently fund 23 high-quality innovative projects, both across the UK and the USA. As part of that, back in 2021, we launched the first of our racial disparities grant calls, which was focused specifically on tackling the racial disparities for Black men when it comes to prostate cancer, because they have a 1 in 4 chance in the UK of developing prostate cancer in their lifetime, compared to 1 in 8 for white men and 1 in 13 for men of other ethnicities in the UK. And really, we don't know why that is. We don't know enough about why that is. So that was the first of 3 grant calls that we've committed to fund thus far, and we've currently got 8 projects that we're funding specifically targeting that racial disparity. One of our other charitable activities that we focus on is around translational research. We make strategic investments, look to create networks and partnerships to try to bridge that gap between academic research and the clinic, and get over that valley of death where we know a lot of research unfortunately goes to die. And so that's another big piece of work that we do. And then the area that is part of my remit is really around the educational work we do, how we educate and empower people with prostate cancer, with that particular focus on reducing racial and social inequities, improving shared decision-making, increasing quality of life, and ultimately, hopefully, lessening treatment regret amongst those populations. Back in 2020, we conducted some in-depth social research trying to identify some of the areas of unmet need for people with prostate cancer. And there were 4 kind of key problems that we identified that we looked to sort of develop a solution to. And so the first, we've all heard of health literacy. We all know the issues around low health literacy. Health literacy in the UK, about half of the population, give or take, is thought to have what's called low health literacy. So struggle with the written information that they're often given. Health information is often unintentionally written for those with higher levels of health literacy. And this has a lot of, problematic outcomes. This can lead to increased visits to A&E, increased hospital stays, reduced treatment adherence, and higher mortality rates as well. In further research we did, we found that 1 in 4 men said they were not given enough information to help them actually make an informed decision about their treatment. And so what we said was, okay, well, this is obviously a significant problem. How can we go out to try to address this? The second is the prostate cancer pathway is quite a complicated pathway compared to some other types of disease. It's not the case, it's not usually the case that you just have sort of, treatment or no treatment. And so you are often then put into a position as a patient where you have to make a decision with your healthcare team around what treatment you want, but you're given a whole kind of menu of different treatments that you might be offered. So it's particularly, and there's some generalizing here, but that's particularly for older men who may be more used to, having been told, okay, well, by your doctor, this is, take this drug, or this is the way you should approach, your health. Suddenly you're being told, okay, you need to be an active partner in shared decision making, and that can be really overwhelming for people. And there's this quote from Tony, which I always love, because it says, navigating your way through treatment options is horrendous, particularly the options that they never tell you about. And this really encapsulates for me a lot of people who feel that they're not told about, sorry, I've jumped ahead, not told about all the treatments that might be offered to them. Or, we all know that if you're told you have cancer, things can go in one ear and completely out the other, because you just can't take in the information. And so maybe you forget what treatment options you have, and that makes it really difficult to then make an informed decision about your treatment and care. So the third problem, I mentioned that there's the higher risk for members of the Black community in the UK of having prostate cancer. And so we know that for the Black community, and so it's not a homogenous community, right? There's Black African, Black Caribbean, Black British, other Black communities. But broadly for the Black community, they feel, from our research showed that they feel underrepresented in the information. They're rarely involved in the co-development of information. And so they feel that the information that they're given rarely addresses their needs. And so this was a quote from a gentleman who joined a focus group of ours who said, look, I opened the brochure. I didn't see one Black man in it. I closed it. This was obviously not information that was relevant for me. And so the fourth problem came around clinical trials. We knew knowledge of clinical trials was very low, and then finding information actually on relevant clinical trials could be really luck of the draw. If you're lucky enough to live and have access to a teaching hospital where they might have all the latest trials, then sure, yeah, you'll probably be told about the latest trials and get that information, although not always true. But for people who don't live in those areas or don't have a clinician who's really on the ball when it comes to the latest research, then how do they find out about the latest information around the latest research? How do they get access to that cutting edge research, which was being talked about earlier today? What is more, and we found that actually more than 7 in 10 respondents said they wanted to know about clinical trials sooner, not just to be told about them as a last resort. And this obviously links into sort of broader problems around clinical trials. We know that many clinical trials fail to recruit. More than 30% fail to recruit even a single participant. 80% of them are delayed, and this has financial and social implications, particularly when you combine that with the fact that levels of diversity are quite low. This continues to perpetuate the problems around health inequity. So this is where this is our solution, and this is the info pool. And so it's this new interactive patient information and education platform that we launched just 7 weeks ago yesterday. So it's only just about 2 months out of the womb, but it's had some really positive feedback thus far. And we're very grateful to have been supported by a grant from the National Lottery Community Fund to fund this project. Now, this project has been co-developed with patient working groups. We had 2 patient working groups, one made up of men with low health literacy, and the other made up of a group of men and their partners from across the UK from different parts of the Black community. But it's also been co-developed with a multidisciplinary group of clinicians from across the UK, urologists, oncologists, health inequality experts, behavioral health specialists, and loads of fabulous clinical nurse specialists who've all fed into this. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, but first, have a little animated video to hopefully tell you more about it too.
Meet Bob, David, and Raj. Bob has recently been diagnosed with prostate cancer. The doctor talked to Bob about his treatment choices, but he has forgotten the details. Bob is unsure what treatment choices are available to him. This is where the info pool comes in. Bob enters some information about himself. He is shown some treatment choices. He uses the comparison tool to help him compare treatments. Next, Bob chooses which treatment he wants to learn more about. Finally, Bob discovers other people's stories. This helps him consider which treatment might be best for him. Now, back to David. His doctor just told him that his PSA was raised. His doctor has referred him to hospital for more tests. David is worried. He wants to understand what tests he might have. He came to the right place. The info pool can help. David can learn about the different tests and scans he may have. This helps put his mind at ease. And then there is Raj. Raj was diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer. He's wondering if he's eligible for any clinical trials. Raj is in a difficult situation. Finding the right clinical trial is not easy, but it is much easier with the InfoPool's clinical trial finder. Bob, David, and Raj. With the help of the InfoPool, they feel more prepared and informed. Find out more, and when you are ready, come share your story on the InfoPool.
So the last part of that was focused on the third person, Raj. And this is, we're going to just tell you about it. For Raj, he has been diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer, and it sums up the problem I was talking about earlier around clinical trials and finding information around clinical trials. And so part of the info pool also includes a clinical trial finder. And so what you'll see in the info pool, there are a number of very simple user journeys, but it's about guiding people to the right information in a very simple, step-by-step process, asking them to enter a little bit of information to help them get to the right information, rather than just overwhelming them with too much information. And it leans into using animations, videos, infographics, illustrations, pictures, and where there is text at a reading age between 8 to 12 years old. And so the idea is helping people find the right information that's empowering them to be able to be more active partners in shared decision-making and to reduce treatment regret by enabling people to go into making the decision about their treatment and care with their healthcare professionals, with their eyes really wide open to the potential risks as well as the benefits of treatment. I think the really unique part of the info pool beyond this are the stories. Layered throughout the site are hundreds and hundreds of stories from people from across the UK who have experience of treatment, and they're filterable. So you can filter by ethnicity, by age, by sexual orientation, by work. And so we've heard from black men who tell us, look, I want to hear from other black men about their experience of treatment. From gay and bisexual men who say the same thing, that the literature out there, it's not talking to me, it's not telling me about the information I need. And so what we're doing is providing access to those stories and experiences in a way that's patient-centric, but also is clinically moderated. So all that information comes through, and it's clinically moderated and reviewed to make sure it is safe, but then it's really just allowing that patient story and experience to be sort of found at a time and a place that helps people at various points along their pathway. And so how this links into the other part of the work that I mentioned at the start, and that Angela was alluding to, is prostate cancer research with the support of a number of industry sponsors and working with IQVIA is going to be launching a patient platform, which looks to link patient-reported outcome measures with clinical data. And it's the purpose being to drive forward research and to find better treatments for people who are affected by prostate cancer. And so the info pool is one part of our strategy to help ensure that the participants in this platform to participate in the registry aspect and providing the patient-reported outcome measures are really representative, diverse, and inclusive. So we see this as one of the ways of helping ensure that cohort of patients who are involved in that work really do represent all people who are affected by prostate cancer, and not just the sort of a small subset or the kind of educated majority who are often the sharp-elbowed majority that Ebola was talking about earlier. So thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about the info pool and the work we're doing at Prostate Cancer Research. And I look forward to speaking to some more of you later about some opportunities to perhaps reach through your integrated care boards and cancer alliances and other places to help ensure that more people can find out about the info pool and benefit more people affected by prostate cancer. Thank you very much.